Come on and let's go, crown state. Third eye blazing. Now memory in the spine. The ancestors. Which ancestors are whispering? Is it whispering? No flex, just recognition. Power seeks power, sits down. There's no competition here, only alignment. All of the masks will fall. Truth breeds, strength multiplies. Praise be, Ashe, Aho. Strengthen your posture, your rising day. Well, Ashe, I mean, Aho. I'm coming back. This is our second video when it comes to getting into the meat of what spirituality is and how to move effectively in the constructs of your spirituality practices. Okay, the whole point of all of this is that we learn to grow, because what Spirit has shown me as I've been out here in these streets is that people are everywhere. They are touching everything. Okay, ooh, that's a stapler. Ooh. Here's a marker. I need the marker, you know. And I didn't have these props here on purpose, trust me. But people are out here everywhere. They're pulling from multiple constructs. And what I see and what Spirit has shown me is more people aren't growing. Okay, they're picking up concepts, but they are not properly learning how to function within those things that they're picking up. It's more so people debating their standpoint, where they are spiritually, if they're a clairvoyant, if they're a shaman, trying to prove to people who they are, why they are, in debate and all of that. That is not what this is about. And if we are to flow in a space where we are taking our gifts and actually operating at the capacity that we are supposed to operate in, then and only then we can totally heal ourselves, learn how to function in our day-to-day life, manifest what we need to manifest in our life, help other people in their life. Okay, so now when you pick up the tarot card, now when you use the dowsing rods or the pendulum, it doesn't become just a guessing game. You are actually tuned in to the correct frequency. You are flowing correctly. What's in your body is flowing correctly. Okay, and these things that Spirit has shown me out in these streets today won't matter to you. Okay, you won't have to try to defend or debate or put on a show, okay, for you will actually be able to flow correctly. A lot of people come from the church. A lot of people come from no foundation at all, and they needed a place to belong, a community. So they grasp hold to these concepts. They listen to other people and not really internalized it for themselves. Okay. In my last video, I talked about why the nervous system needs regulation, okay, before we carry what our spiritual gifts are, okay, whatever it is, before we carry anything spiritual, why we need to first focus on ourselves first, okay. When you go into any kind of practice, especially, and I cannot stress this more, spiritual practices, it's not about show, it's not about performance, it's not about you just jumping in and I got the knowledge and the wisdom, because some people have the gift of knowledge, just the outward knowing of something, but how you are allowing that information to process within yourself is very important. How you use it, okay? So if you're everywhere, right, everything that you say, everything that you touch will be as well. It won't be grounded, okay? All right, so we need to understand, in the last video I tried to get you guys to understand that the nervous system comes before anything. Before you have any kind of operation, okay? You have to be grounded, okay? You have to be stable. You have to be a place where you can communicate properly with Spirit. Is very important, okay? Because in this space, you have to have the ability to hear properly, discern properly, and communicate the divine's voice properly, okay? And it is important because your discernment, what you hear, and how you communicate is and will be influenced by the condition and the mindset of you, of your mind, of who you are, okay? So it is very important that you get all the information that I'm giving out to you. So for whoever is watching, this is for you, okay? And it doesn't matter where you are on your spiritual journey. These are principles to live by each and every day, okay? The mistake people make is that they come so far along in their spiritual journey that they forget their ABCs. They forget their numbers. They forget their grammar. You understand what I'm saying? They forget the steps that brought them here, okay? They just jumping from one gun to the next gun, okay? All right? We need a foundation. It's very important. Okay, what is spirituality? What is it to you? Okay, what is the difference between, you need to understand the difference between religion and spirituality. What is the difference? So many people are out here fighting to state their claim and to state their cause. First of all, what's for you is for you. Okay, the divine deals with you individually. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a foundation. Yes, there's a structure of it. Okay, there's a core structure of it. But for you, divine may tell me to take a broom and to sweep my house and give me words to say, or creative words that come up in my spirit, may not be for you. Okay, everybody has their own ingredients. That is the true facts. Okay, there's shamans in the world. That one shaman may have to heal somebody of a certain element, say it was depression. There may be 5 shamans in a room that have different concepts and ways that they're picking up to actually bring that person forth to healing. Okay, it's very important that you understand the difference between spirituality and what religion is. Okay, and what do cultures mean by spirit, soul, life force, and divine presence? So in this curriculum, we're going to go through all of that. Not today, not all in one shot, but I'm going to be bringing all this up, okay? I'm also going to be letting you answer the questions of what have humans, and why have humans like us, why are you, okay, searching for connection, the unseen. Why is the unseen, why is what is unseen so important throughout history, okay? Throughout, for yourself. What is it that you're feeling? What drew you into this path? Okay, why did you feel drawn? What did you need? What is it? You have to understand that and understand that moving forward. Okay, in Christianity, you have the Holy Spirit. They talk of spiritual gifts, prayer, discernment, prophecy, wisdom, healing. Okay, all right, spiritual warfare. Okay, fighting the unseen. Okay, it's not necessarily knocking it out, right, or knocking somebody out, but really fighting those forces that are trying to hinder you from something. And one of the things of the Christian concepts that I teach my kids and that I love is about the fruits of the Spirit, because that is very important. So we're going to go through all of that as well when we talk about love and kindness, how we conduct ourselves, how we discipline ourselves. Okay, that is a very important concept as well. Okay, in the ancient Hebrew language, okay, because there's different language, so I'm just going to go about all that before we get into the meat of everything. Okay, because in the last video I really didn't do that. I started out in this course talking about what the ancients taught, and then I went into regulation of the nervous system, so giving you guys some exercise about how to regulate your nervous system. Okay, so if you haven't watched that video, go watch that video. Okay, but we have what the ancient Hebrews taught, and just like the Christians talk about spirit, in the ancient Hebrew language, it is called the Ruach. And if you look at my email, my email says Ruach Ascension, right? So the word Ruach, meaning spirit, breath, wind, okay? It's very important, okay? Nefesh is another word that they use. So we're going to go through all of that. Living, which means living being, soul, okay? All right? And the Shama, okay? And I'm not trying to speak in tongues, right? That is the word, which is the breath of God. Okay, and in African systems, okay, we understand the ancestors, and I'm going through all these systems right now because many people have grasped a hold of so much. They're touching this, they're debating over this, but you're going to see how all of this works together. Okay, everybody has been placed in different regions. There's people in China that have there's people in Europe, there's people in Africa, there's people in Australia, somebody in Antarctica. They're ancients practices all over the world. Okay, how spirit showed up for these people, and all of it comes together when you study them. When you understand it spiritually, you realize, oh, so then your title does not matter. Okay, so many people want to go by a title. I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm atheist, I'm Protestant, I'm Methodist, I'm whatever. That's where I get it. When people walk up to me and say, what are you? And I'm like, I'm a child of the divine, because that's who I am. You understand? I don't need to put myself with a group of people, okay? Because I am with the all right? So we have African systems where we honor our ancestors, and you'll hear about the Orishas, right, of Yoruba. You understand what I'm saying? Where you hear about Abatala and Oshun and Yamaja. You understand what I'm saying? And so forth and so on. We are about, in African spirituality, we are where we know is the central core of the world for us, where everything started, okay? And it branched out, okay? So you have all kinds of stories and all kinds of different things that branched from the concepts of the central core, okay? And one of the most important things in African spirituality is community, okay? Spirituality, okay? The unifying of people, the unifying of ones within the spirit realm, okay? The relationship between the visible and the invisible worlds is very important, and we very much hold sacred responsibility highly and very important, okay? And then you have the Eastern traditions of Hindu, okay? Atman, okay, which is a Hindu word. It means self or soul, okay. And then you have Brahman. I never could say Brahman, which is the ultimate reality, the cosmos, the all, the divine. And then you have karma, and we have dharma, and everybody uses that word karma all the time. You feel what I'm saying? You have meditation, and you have Buddhism, okay, which is the mindfulness. And you see how all of this kind of goes together, okay? We done talked about different concepts and different titles so far, and you're like, okay, well, what's the difference, right? Okay, mindfulness is in Buddhism. They talk about suffering. Even Christianity, Apostle Paul will talk about his suffering and how to suffer with joy or suffer in peace, and understand how your suffering can still make way for spirit to do what spirit needs to do, okay? Buddhism, also enlightenment and compassion, okay? And then we have the shamanic, indigenous, the Indian and native traditions, which is our relationship with nature. And that goes in with Buddhism, goes in with African spirituality, that goes in with Hebrew spirituality, because nature is a huge part. If you're not out in nature and you call yourself spiritual of any form, if you call yourself a lover of the divine, and you want the divine to work with you or work for you in any form, and you are not connected with nature, there's your problem. You're not manifesting. Things aren't going your way. Things are kind of your workings that you're doing becomes haywire. Well, honey, because you have not tapped into the source. Okay? I know people got this thing, go hug a tree, but go sit outside, listen, feel the grass, grab some dirt. And I usually sometimes take the dirt or some grass, or I touch my flowers and I say, hey. Or if I'm feeling some type of way, I might touch the plants that are outside and be like, oh my goodness, I need a little bit of your force right now, okay? Or I need you to absorb this from me, okay? I have some flowers outside that are some Indian sunflowers that if you look at some of them are still the whole plant, some of them are still thriving. But some of them had died really quickly. And that's because I was going through some things with my grief, with losing my daughter. And one night I was outside and I was like, oh my God, I need you to absorb this for me. And honey, when I tell you them things absorbed it for me, and they look like they've been dead for a while, and I need to just cut them down. You understand what I'm saying? Nature is here for us. But the best thing about that, even though that plant absorbed my energy and helped me on my journey, okay, those seeds in that plant is life. So when they fall back into the dirt, it comes back, okay? So I didn't just kill a plant, so I don't want nobody thinking that no plant harm was done. You know how they say no animal harm was done in this movie, no plant harm was done. Okay. So the relationship with nature, animal symbolization, visions, healing traditions, and spiritual journeys are very important when it comes to our native society. Okay, when it comes to our mystical traditions and all this, what I'm telling you, everybody, I'm compartmentalizing this for you, but it all goes together. There's no separation in it, and people need to understand that. Christian mysticism, Kabbalah, Sufism, contemplative prayer. You know what I mean? All of that goes together. When we got, like I said, the Holy Spirit, the divine, the Ruach. You understand? And then the Sham, your Atom. You feel what I'm saying? All that stuff goes together, and it's very important that you understand and overstand that. Okay? The ancient societies, like I said in the first 3 videos in this course, they made you understand how to stabilize yourself. Okay? And how to understand what is called the outer life. All right? Okay? How you discipline, how you live. Okay, is very important. Okay, your honesty, your compassion, your responsibility. And by gosh, since my children have been little, I have tried to teach them this. And not that I haven't had no struggles or still have some kind of struggles, because they're human. Nature sometimes kicks in, and I gotta express myself and say, listen, I didn't raise you like this. I didn't teach you this. Where did that come from? Because in order for us to operate functioning properly, in order for your life to operate and function properly, these things need to be lined up correctly, okay? Your discipline, your honesty, your compassion, your responsibility. All of that is very important. Your service, okay? What are you doing? Who are you helping? What is your community life? And like I said in the video I did yesterday, for my school, you know what I mean, for my other when I'm talking about ancestral work, you know, I talked about your community, your service, working with your community ancestors. Okay, very important. Okay, the ancients also taught us, and with the divine teaching, when you are grounded, okay, people praise the ancients, and people are praising Buddha, and people are praising Yeshua, people are praising Thoth, and people are praising people like Isis, and so forth, and so often. But how about if you can look in the mirror and praise yourself? Because you are operating, functioning in a master's level. You are riding your bike and you are able to move and breathe this day. Okay? So we have the inner life, okay, which I just spoke about. And the outer life. Now we have the inner life. And that says, the outer life says how you live. The inner life it goes on to say, how are you developing your spiritual life? Are you just hearing somebody say, girl, I got love spell, and this is what you're doing? You go home and you trying it? You understand what I'm saying? But you have no prayer life. You have no daily devotion. How you live is off. You have no development in it. You're just grabbing hold. Are you developing property? Are you meditating? Okay? And that goes with your discipline. That's in your outer life as well. Okay? Are you meditating? Are you praying? What reflections do you have? What awarenesses do you have? Do you have self-control? It is very important. Okay? The next thing that they understood is their spiritual life. How do I understand? Your understanding, that is your spiritual life. Okay? People go around, I'm spiritual. Okay. That's great. I listen to people and I just say, oh, that's cool. You know? Okay? But what is your understanding? Okay? Do you properly understand your gifts or calling? Or you gravitate to everything? And some people are, like myself, have multiple abilities spiritually. Okay? I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I have done that. You understand what I'm saying? But then there's some people that are just clairvoyants. There's some people that are just prophets. There are just people that are just healers in certain sense for certain things. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody might be just good at farming and producing, have a green thumb. You understand what I'm saying? So some people can just play the saxophone, where there's other people out here that can play multiple instruments, but that is not their call. Their call was just to play the saxophone. Okay? So how you understand, and that is how you understand your gifts, your calling, your intuition, the wisdom that you carry, your connection in your work with God, Goddess, the divine. That is very important. Okay? All right? And like I said before, we're going to talk more about the gifts of the spirit, the wisdom, the knowledge, the faith, the healing, the miracles. Okay? All right? The prophecy, the discernment. Okay? The tongues, the interpretation, your leadership skills, your teaching, your encouraging. We're going to grow in these things. Your giving, your mercy, your service. Okay? It's very important. Okay? In the church, they have, what is the apostle, prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher. Okay? And what we know in this spiritual concept, right, of it, people usually take that Christianized as underneath the religious. You know, so people are like, I don't want to be called no prophet, I don't want to be called no this and that. I don't mind being called a prophet or an evangelist. If you understand what those people do, or a pastor or a teacher, because you are or apostle, okay, you are doing those things. All right. So stop running from, and people need to stop running from and fighting over and what's right, what's wrong, and really your understanding, your spiritual life needs to be balanced. Okay. Because we understand people are more talking about the clairvoyance, okay, the clairdescence, the astral projection and healing, energy healing and mediumship. Okay. All that still falls underneath. Okay. The clarions. Okay. The clarion sense. Okay. Very important. All right. How we understand our gifts, okay? Your specific gifts, okay? So you need to understand what specific gifts are meant for you and what you need to explore and their methods of the developing, okay? So you may want to, some people may say, hey, I want to heal people. I know that I have this gift, or I do this, but I want to know more about it. Or you might be praying and asking divine, hey, I want to do that. I think that's cool. I want to be able to I want you to be able to use me as this for the service of humanity, for other people. And you need to understand the methods of the development in that space, okay? All right? And the historical and mystical traditions of interest, metaphysics and consciousness type thing. You know, these are the words that we are floating out here. All of that is important, okay? All right? So we're going to talk about consciousness and symbolization and dreams and imagination and how to use your imagination, not your delusion, okay? Not what you make up on your own, okay? We're going to talk about human perception. all right? Sacred geometry and philosophy of reality. We're going to have to discuss all of that moving forward, okay? In the Hindu philosophy, we have the knowledge and service, and the karma, and the yogas and the yogis. Okay, with Buddhism, like I said earlier, we have compassion, we have mindfulness. It all goes together. Do you see how it all goes together? Like, what are we fighting over? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so like I said, the last video I talked about regulating your nervous system. This video I'm talking about more of what our focus needs to be. So if you go back and watch this video as well, we can go in and talk about write in your journal and do some research on your own as well as we go forth in these videos to come. Okay, because that is very important. Okay, that we understand the philosophy of reality, discernment, and wisdom. Okay, humility, the ethics, the motives, the awareness. Okay, the emotional, the mental awareness. Okay, certain deceptions and manipulations, and spiritual authority, how that moves. Okay, spiritual philosophy, discovering your own spiritual gifts and learning how to do that is very important in this. Okay, all right. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, what are your strengths? Okay, what comes naturally to you? All right, and if you want to put that down in the comments, you can. I would love to see what you say. Okay, what is your compassions? Okay, who do you feel called to help? What do you feel called to do? What do you feel called to help? Okay, what are you curious about? Okay, what subjects are you drawn to? It's very important. Okay, all right, and what I want to know what your spiritual experiences are. You know, your dreams, your prayer experiences, your insights, you know, your creativity, and how's your service look? Okay, all right, how can you use your gifts? Learn how to know how you can use your gifts for others. Okay, all right, okay, so we're going to talk more about what is the gift. Okay, first, before we get into anything drawn out, and I know for some people, like I said, I've been doing this for years, but listen, so have I. But these concepts is what grounds me and what keeps me. And I'm an elder, and I'm out here trying to help people who are coming in learn and know how to move effectively. Okay? So that if we can do that together, let's go. Okay? You know, we need to understand how spirituality, how this movement of the divine has moved and appeared historically, especially in different concepts, what I just named, right? Different, which I call titles. You understand what I'm saying? How we use it, this power, this magic, this insight, this discernment, these gifts responsibly. Okay? Christianity, like I said, has Holy Spirit, and they want you to become Christ-like. Okay? We're going to talk about Christ consciousness. Okay? Their main practice is prayer. Pray about everything. Honey, you got a headache? Pray about it. My foot hurt? Pray about it. Pray about it. Whatever it is, just pray about it. You know? Hinduism, meditate, baby, meditate. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? And theirs is about liberation. Okay? We have Buddhism, okay, which is freedom from suffering, how to free yourself from the suffering. Okay? Mindfulness is what that's about. Okay? And then you have harmony and ceremonic practices of African spirituality and, excuse me, the natives as well. Listen, all of it goes together because you can't have one without the other. You understand? So compartmentalizing it makes no sense to me. And it makes no sense to the divine. Spirit is like, y'all tripping. You feel what I'm saying? It all goes together. You understand? Okay? So what is spirit? Okay? All right? What is it? Okay? The humans search for this invisible world. My daughter just wrote something. I homeschool them, so she wrote on the board, school time over, work on your homework. So I guess that's for you guys as well. Okay? All right? So, humans we've built cities, we've wrote books, we've created governments, okay? We've studied stars, right? Okay? All right? Okay? We wanted to see, is there more to life? People have created books to theologies and concepts and do this and self-help books and this and the third, searching for so much. You know, and I'm in school, I'm a college student and pursuing my doctorate, if the divine wills it. You understand what I'm saying? But there's so many different philosophies, and I call the philosophies and the theologies opinions. I got where he's coming from, because there's some things that I'm like, oh, this may work for you, but that didn't work for me. You know, everybody's different. You know, thank you for, I'll look into, I won't disregard because it worked for you. I won't disregard what you said, but I also will be open to other possibilities, other learnings. You understand what I'm saying? Hearing the divine for myself and for what I do, so that I can add on, and it grows and it expands. Okay? All right? Okay? So that's the important thing, you know? And every ancient civilization throughout history wrestled with this. Okay? Throughout history, even in American history, you see how the Protestants and the Christians, they debated over, they murdered those of us, burnt us at the stake because we had spiritual gifts that they did not understand. Okay? They killing people and hurting people and harming people. They went over to Africa and decided to tell people, okay, we see you. Y'all guys got pyramids and y'all is doing a thing. Y'all can farm. We don't know how to farm, but y'all surviving out here. But you ain't got Jesus, so y'all ain't got nothing. Same thing they did when they came over here to America. They told the Indians, okay, we can't farm. We don't know how to wash our tail. We don't have hygiene. We are going to the bathroom in the same water that we drink. We are getting all kind of diseases. We didn't pack enough food from the old land to come to the new land, and we are starving. So they got on welfare with the Indians and tried to get from the Indians. So the Indians got hip to their game, but they're going to tell the Indians, now you are under King so-and-so. You are initiated. And these Indians was like, no, the heck I'm not. We living over here good. We got food. Y'all, in the wintertime, y'all eating your own people. Y'all killing the babies and the moms to survive. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? All right? Okay? They've always wrestled with that question. Is there more to life than what we can see? Is there more to this? How do we... They didn't get it because you know why? They were built on their ego. And they were built on manipulation. And they were built on control. And that is the spirit that has flowed through society to this day. And that is the spirit that spirit wants us to kill and destroy. Okay? It is very important. Okay? All right? Okay? It's very important that you get that. Okay? What is seen in the reality that gives the meaning to the seen world? What is in the unseen world that gives reality to the seen world? Okay? So it's important that you learn how to understand and how to figure that out. But the only way that you'll be able to figure that out is by sitting with spirit. Now you see all these ancient practices resurface and they haven't gone anywhere. Okay? I remember watching things like Ghost back in the day. And what is another one? What is another movie? It wasn't Ghost. But there what is that movie that Whoopi Goldberg did another movie where she was a teacher in like some kind of bookstore. You understand what I'm saying? But she was talking about African spirituality and she was talking about mediumship. Then, you know, I grew up with movies where our culture and these cultures were talked about. I grew up in a culture where we were shown, even in our homes, you know, practices and taught hoodoo and different things. So they weren't, this concept that's out here now is not new. It's been, I gravitated to African spirituality as a young child. You understand? To where my uncle would travel to Africa, and every time he came back, he brought me a piece of Africa. You understand what I'm saying? My cousins, my uncles, from the drums to all of that stuff. Okay? So what is the unseen reality that gives the meaning to the seen world? Okay? It's already been here. All right? You don't have to, and people think, oh, I got to catch up, and they're killing themselves trying to do this, that they're missing the flow of how to grow spiritually. Okay? All right? What does spirit mean to you? Okay? Or what is your understanding or your understanding of spirit? Okay? It is one of the oldest concepts in this mundane human experience. Okay? All right? It can mean multiple things. All right? Like breath, like wind, like life, like energy or movement. Spirit is all of that. An invisible force. Okay? The idea is something can be real even if it cannot be physically seen. That's the truth. Okay? Have you ever had any experiences like that? Where you've seen something or felt something or something happened to you and you knew that it was a force that let this happen that was not in this world. Okay? All right? Something came through to you. Something was changed. You know you made a mistake, but that mistake was somehow overlooked. Okay? You cannot see it. It could be thoughts, love, wisdom, emotions. Okay? Your consciousness. Okay? But you experience them still. You understand? Spirit is often understood as the invisible dimension of existence. Okay? The Hebrew word for ruach, like I said, means breath, wind. It means spirit. The same word can describe a physical wind of God and the spirit of God, of the divine, of the goddess, of the Malakim. You understand what I'm saying? Which is angels. Okay? All right? All right. In the Bible, in Genesis, it says, and the spirits moved. The spirit of God moved. This, we could say the spirit of God breathed. Okay? The wind of God moved. You understand what I'm saying? Across the waters. Okay? The Hebrew idea of that is that God is very active. He's moving. He's always creating. He's always bringing order. Okay? He's always flowing. Okay? Spirit is not presented as something that is lifeless. Okay? Spirit is movement. Spirit is life. See, it's even how I'm moving my hands and I'm creating an atmosphere. Spirit is atmosphere. Okay? Spirit is movement. Spirit is life. That's why when you sit and when you stay still, then you find things that come upon you like depression, like boredom, okay? Fear, doubt, worry. But when you're moving, your freedom. That's why people say exercise. Exercise is good for the body, it's good for the mind, it's good for the soul. Spirit is power. Okay? Okay? So how to receive spirit. And yes, because I'm going to stay on some biblical sense, because nothing is wrong about the canon of scripture, okay, which is called the Bible. Yes, we know many people have touched it, but see, there y'all go debating on the wrong thing. Okay? The fact of the matter, and the fact is that the concepts in these esoteric books, be it the Talmud, be it the Quran, okay, be it any Buddhist or Hindu text, ancient text, the Book of the Dead, okay, the Emerald Tablets, y'all want to debate over these concepts, or people want to debate over these concepts, tear them apart, but they miss the message. Okay? Because truth and be told that somebody had to publish that book. And there are ancient texts and scrolls that elites got, and they said, well, that the jig is up, the secret's out, we got to produce something. And they figure out how to produce it in a way that they think that they can control the momentum and control what you think and what you can touch. But it's you who read. And I can read the Dr. Seuss, okay? He said, hi, my name is Sam. Sam, I am. Okay? He said, would you like to eat green eggs and ham? He said, no, Sam, I don't want to eat green. Well, would you like to eat them here or there? He said, no, I don't want to eat them here. Well, I don't want to eat them anywhere. Okay? I know that's that by that whole book by heart. And there's a message with even that I get out of that book. You understand what I'm saying? There was a book that I read to my kids called Good Night Moon. Okay? And there was a message that she said, good night moon, good night sock, good night mouse on the clock. You understand what I'm saying? There's a message even in that. And that's exactly how you should use the biblical text or any canon that you read. Okay? All right? But Genesis 2:7 says, and the Lord God formed man out of the dust of the ground. Right? Okay? And he breathed into the nostrils the breath of life. And man then what? Became a living soul. So there we go here with that spirit, that breath, that wind, that power. Okay? And I love talking about this. This is right up my alley. Okay? That's why I couldn't wait to get past those first 5 videos to get right here. Okay? All right? That scripture creates the powerful picture. Okay? Humans, mundane folks, okay, being made from what? We talked about how we got to get in tune with nature. Well, I always tell people, you are nature. I have a daughter who, take your shoes off. I don't want to walk out here like this. Girl, you are part of this. This is who you are. You are the concrete. You are the dirt. You are the wind. You are the rain. She'll dance in the rain and stuff like that. But there's some things that she just not going to do. Okay? And I just like, girl, let loose, let free, engage. Become. And she just reminded me of this book. I forget what it's called. But it's about the little girl who ate the lima beans. And she became, my oldest daughter loved that book. Bad Case of Stripes. And that's a great book if you have any kids or even for yourself to read. But the little girl wouldn't eat her lima beans, okay? And she became a part of her whole room. Like she melted into the walls and she melted into the bed and she had stripes. She was watching the TV one day and there's an American flag on there and that's how it started. She shape-shifted into whatever was around her. And what healed her was her eating the beans, okay? So that was amazing, okay? But it is important that we understand that life comes from the breath of God. Okay? All right? Okay? The body connects us to the earth. Spirit connects us to God. Okay? All right? We exist between dimensions, worlds. Do you understand what I'm saying? And people just say two worlds, but honey, don't limit it. Because when you walk into spiritual gifts and you're in a heightened sense, baby, you understand that you are pulled from many sides. Okay? There's many parts of even just taking 2 steps where you can walk into a different reality timeline. Okay, it is very important. That's why you also have to understand how to guard yourself, how to pray, how to stay focused, so that even if you're shifting, you don't lose yourself. You ever walk into a room and forget what the hell was it going in there for? Okay, I did it yesterday when I came in the house. I was supposed to go get my, see, I remember now, and I did do it. I ended up doing it eventually. But I had little boys over here, and I was doing multiple things. But I had my dog, and I wanted to put her outfit on her. And I walked in the room, and I stood behind my daughter, and she looked at me. She was like, what did you come in here for? And I was like, oh, I don't know. She thought I was coming back to mess with her and her friend. I was like, I came here for something. I just walked out, went about my business, then I remembered what I was supposed to do. But something in between that shifted. And I had to sit down to figure out what shifted. And once I figured out what shifted and why and what Spirit was trying to say was supposed to get my attention, then I was able to come back in the room, get her outfit, come out here, do what I needed to do for my pet. Okay? Okay? Very important. All right? We exist between worlds. Okay? The physical and the spiritual. Okay? All right? I need you to ask yourself, okay, this question. Your body, right, is physical. Okay? But your thoughts, emotions, your dreams, your imagination, and you are invisible. So what does that tell you about the unseen? Okay? This right here, like I have a scab right here. You see me, if you see me on the video still like messing with, because I can't stand scabs, right? You know, we're supposed to leave them alone, but I'll be picking them. So this is physical, right? I can pinch myself, I feel myself, okay? But my thoughts, my emotions, that we have emotions, right? My dreams, okay? My imagination. Right now I can close my eyes and see visions of where I would like to be, or where I would like to be settled at, or whatever pops up in your mind. That is invisible. But what does that tell you about the unseen? Okay? Ask yourself those questions. Okay? Okay? Then we went to understand the difference between the body, the soul, and the spirit. Okay? So in the next video, we are going to go a little deeper with that. Okay? All right? So we're going to understand the difference between the body, the soul, and the spirit. Okay? And we're going to go further and talk about the soul, the soma, the spirit, okay? And different philosophies with that as well. Okay? So it was very nice speaking with you all today. I hope that this blessed you and have given you some more things to think about and directions to go forth in your journey. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for joining in the conversation. And like I asked earlier, put in the comments or email me if you have any questions or concerns, or you want to go deeper in between the videos. You know, I'm not coming out fast enough. I am here for you, you know, and like I said, it's donation or whatever, but if you just call me, I'm not out here saying, here, give me your cash, give me your money, and you got to talk to me with a price. I'm not that chick, okay? I want to help whoever it is, okay? So you email me, I most likely will give you my number, because I don't do a bunch of media type stuff. I like to talk voice to voice with people, and hey, let me hear your voice. Let's get to where you need to go. Let's regulate. You're going through some real things in life. I want to help you out, okay? So reach out to me. Okay, the donation is only if you feel blessed and you feel like you want to give me 50 cents, $1, or whatever. That's up to you, you know, with the equivalently exchange and whatnot that we do have in the spirit realm. Okay, but regardless, God takes care of me, and I'm very excited about it. Okay, but I put some things out here today, so I want you to get out your journal and go back through here and kind of write. I wish I could like pinpoint some of these questions that I asked you over on the screen. I don't know how to do all of that. Okay, but it was so nice being with you all today. Okay, continue to pray, continue to meditate, continue to develop who you are. Okay, don't be so quick to rush and do things. If you got to sit them tarot cards down or them dowsing rods to regulate yourself, do that. Okay, all right. Say, Spirit, what is it? Show me. Let me breathe first with you. Regulate my spirit. And we always start with our breath. Okay? And that's why I talked about the spirit and breath and what it means here. Grace and peace. This is Dutchess, the spiritual doula. You guys have a phenomenal day.